They, meaning the American Gestapo known as ICE, brought the war zone with them. That's exactly correct. So Donald Trump has been lying to the American people, falsely claiming that American cities are war zones. Now, specifically, he's picking cities with Democratic mayors and Democratic governors. And he's just spewing complete and utter horseshit, claiming that our cities are war zones. He has called my home, Portland, Oregon, hell on earth. He's falsely claimed that the city is on fire. It's out of control. It's overrun by radical leftist Antifa domestic terrorists. Now, is it true that people all over the country are protesting the illegal actions of the Trump regime? Yeah. Is it true that Americans all over this country are exercising our constitutionally protected right to protest against the cruel, inhumane, and illegal actions of our government? Yes. Protesting in the United States of America is as American as apple pie. We have a long, proud history of protest. It is a fiercely defended constitutional right. Protesters are not the problem. ICE is the problem. Americans exercising their constitutionally protected rights is not the problem. ICE is the one that brings violence. ICE is the one that brings brutality, illegality. ICE is the one who brings the war zone with them. Let me show you an example of what a typical protest looks like in Oregon when ICE is not involved. Does this look like the violent Antifa domestic terrorists that Trump says have overrun Portland, Oregon? I mean, this is Saturday in Portland. Grannies with walkers and my congresswoman and ukuleles. That doesn't fit the false narrative that the regime is trying to put forth, which is why it is so important that we counter the lies of the regime with documentary evidence of what is actually happening in our cities. As a 17-year resident of Portland, Oregon, I can tell you that's a pretty typical protest. Now, we know not just in Portland, but across the United States, there have, been a record number of protests this year. Basically, if you look at your watch right now, somewhere in the United States of America, somebody is on a street corner protesting Donald Trump or Tesla or ICE or the Republicans. Somebody is standing up and exercising their constitutional rights. That's very normal. We should celebrate that in this country. At these record number of protests that we're seeing, it is pretty consistently older Americans, older Gen X and boomers who are really showing up in the largest numbers. Now, that's for a number of reasons. They have more free time. They're more likely to be retired, have greater financial resources. They also have decades and decades of experience standing up, exercising their rights, and speaking out against injustice. But Trump doesn't want you to know that. He especially doesn't want his older Gen X and boomer Fox News base to know that the majority of protesters in this country are older Americans. Because then the Fox News crowd will be like, well, wait a minute, that breaks that image that I have built up in my head of black bloc, masked, violent youth who are throwing Molotov cocktails. That guy looks like one of my buddies that I meet up with at the Legion. Or that lady over there, she looks like my 87-year-old mom that I take care of. But y'all, this is what protests look like when ICE is not involved. Overwhelmingly, Americans are exercising nonviolently their constitutionally protected right to free speech. And once again, we should celebrate that. Donald Trump is scared of that. He is scared of you exercising your rights. He is desperate to get you to be quiet and go away because he doesn't want his base. He doesn't want especially the pillars of support under the regime, right? Those businesses that are supporting him, those institutions. He doesn't want them to see that it is regular, everyday Americans, very normal, reasonable people who are doing very reasonable things to express their fear, their anger, their dissatisfaction against the government. He doesn't want you to see that. He's desperate to depict our cities, especially Portland and Chicago right now, right? Previously, DC and LA. He's going to keep moving around, right? He's going to keep failing in city after city after city. He wants to manufacture conflict in those cities so he can say, look, here's evidence that these cities are actually war zones. See, I said, and look, I have a clip of a protester shoving an ICE agent. So see, I'm right. It's a war zone. Now I can bring the military in to everybody's neighborhoods and I can take away all your rights. But do you understand? Without ICE, there is no violence happening. Without ICE, there is no brutality. There is no illegality. ICE is bringing the war zone. ICE is instigating. We have sworn testimony in court from Portland police that it is ICE that is instigating with law-abiding legal protesters. So we know what it looks like to see protests in the United States when ICE is not involved. Now let's look at a couple of clips from the last few days, some from Portland and some from Chicago, when ICE and Border Patrol get involved. Right, and you know that ICE and Border Patrol, they're like this, right? It's just that Border Patrol can only operate within 100 miles of the U.S. border, which is where most of our population lives. So you see ICE and Border Patrol, both controlled by Homeland Security. They function very similarly around the United States right now. And it has been very much ICE, located only around the ICE facility in Portland, but a lot of ICE and Customs and Border Patrol in Chicago. Now I'm going to preface this. I'm going to show you two clips from Portland. From in front of the ICE facility, you will see a blue line that's been painted that delineates where public property stops and federal ICE property begins. We are getting loads of reporting that ICE is grabbing people from public property and dragging them over to ICE property, and then you're trespassing. We have ICE leaving federal property, going onto public property to harass, mace, shoot with rubber bullets, intimidate, knock to the ground, drag, brutalize American citizens who are absolutely carrying out, participating in, exercising their constitutional right to protest against the government. Watch this clip from Portland and see if anything stands out to you. We are trying to accurately depict what's happening in our cities, and at the same time, Department of Homeland Security has their propaganda boys going full steam. Did you notice that there is some chud whose entire job is to film what's happening? That's because they are desperate to capture on film any incident that they can cut and edit and splice together to say, see, it's a war zone down here. See, there's rioting. See, Donald Trump needs to come in and take away your rights and put the military all over your city. This is political theater for them. So much of war, so much of conflict, so much of what authoritarians do absolutely is political theater. These are unarmed protesters. Who's turning Portland into a war zone? Who's brutalizing American citizens? We've had multiple reports of ICE planting evidence on protesters. We have multiple reports of ICE using less lethals at very close range where it is illegal and extremely unsafe. We also have multiple incidents of ICE firing less lethals at people's faces and at their genitals. That was an ICE agent in Portland, Oregon, spraying pepper spray directly into the vent of a nonviolent protester's costume, trying to fill the inside of his costume with pepper spray. Dangerous, illegal, and they're doing it because they think they can get away with it, because the Department of Justice is not going to investigate or prosecute. ICE and Customs and Border Patrol are operating outside of the law. Nobody will hold them accountable. They are now Donald Trump's paramilitary. They are his personal military. They answer only to him. They get to freely trample on the rights of American citizens. I'm going to show you two examples here from Chicago from the last couple of days, and these are harder to watch. By the way, the dude in that frog suit, he's fine. He's back at it. He's been all over the news. I want to talk about him more in another video. He's still out there protesting, y'all. Let me show you these two clips from Chicago. Brace yourself. When we talk about how ICE is completely untrained and unskilled, this guy got so dysregulated, he put his weapon right in her face. I don't know who this queen is, but look at her. Yeah, girl.
Step back. I'm on a public
He's not doing anything. You're seeing that. Whoa! He's not doing anything. He's not doing anything. No, he's not doing anything.
I need you to stand over there.
No, he's not. I'm gonna stand right here. He's not doing.
Stand where
I'm
I
gonna
tell
stand
you to
right
stand.
here. I'm gonna stand
You're
right
next.
here.
It's Trump that's bringing war to American citizens in American cities. You understand? It's the American Gestapo that's bringing the war zone with them. That's on purpose. They're trying to manufacture war. Donald Trump is trying to wage war on Americans in American cities.